What's up, you guys? I hope you guys are having a good start to your week. How's everybody doing tonight? All right, all right. Let's see here. So, typical Monday night lesson here. You guys are new. I do these streams every Monday where we go over my charts, go over the setups that I like for the rest of the week, and obviously tomorrow. But I always like to start these out by doing a quick trade review. So we will go over the trades we took today, which we only took one and we were done. We are currently on an 11-day green streak. So for any of you guys that are not in the floor and you want to trade with us, click that first link below and use code FIRST at checkout and you'll get 40% off. But for those of you that are in the floor, you guys are absolutely banking. So with that being said, we'll go ahead and go over the trade that we took today on AVGO. I'll pull it up here in the trade ideas from this morning. Once again, if you guys are relatively new to this, I post my trade ideas every single day on Discord before market opens, and I go over these with you guys in the mornings. And if you are not following me on Threads, I post them there as well. But you can see right here, AVGO, I was looking at the trade idea I have for this morning was a downside play that we didn't end up getting. And I actually said this morning, I know whichever one of these that I picked to write down is going to be the opposite one that we're going to get. So really doesn't even matter what I put in the trade ideas this morning, does it? But AVGO, we were looking at this, what was it, 288.28 high. Now we did break this on Friday, but we broke it with a wick pre-market. So we really never actually fully broke the level. We never got a hold above. And today AVGO was really the only thing that was showing like super consistent strength compared to the market. Market was a little weird today because we did see a lot of strength from the market itself, but the stocks were just not really following suit, which is a little bit unfortunate and kind of an odd situation to be in because it's like, all right, everything's just doing nothing at all. Some things are just grinding. They're not really picking up any momentum, but yeah, AVGO was one of those that just had super clear strength. I really like this 288.28 level, even though we broke it. But I looked to take my entry here right into the 288.28 level. I ended up taking my entry here on the 1021 candle, which was actually, it was the 1020 candle right here. Towards the end of the candle, the signal was actually sent at technically 1021, but on mic, I called this out at my entry. I got my entry on this 1020 candle as we were pushing into this 288.28 level. And then I ended up adding to my position here at the 1023 candle. So right here, ended up adding to my position. We gapped up on the 1 minute, which is cool. Typically, I don't like to see gaps on the 1 minute just because it usually means low volume. But on this candle right here, this was the first candle that we actually had more volume than the rest. And it was just a super strong open to that candle. We ended up breaking above, holding above, and continuing this move here. We tried for a retest, ended up coming back up and holding above that 288.28 level. And then this 288.59 level I have right here is from the wick high from pre-market on Friday. Now we ended up breaking this. My new stop loss on this was going to be moved up to right around break even, really, because if we couldn't end up holding above 288.28, we most likely were not going to see that actually follow through regardless. So yeah, we ended up seeing once again a hold of this 288.28 level for the next few candles, and then we got some nice volume on this 1029 candle right here that finally broke us through. My target for this was 289. Nothing crazy, but on the 289 break, we ended up taking profits on that. And that was a nice little trade to start the week. Now, I made a video about this earlier, or actually, I didn't really make a video out of it, but I was talking about it. in the screen recording from the live trade. And a lot of people this morning, like, we were a few minutes into market open and everybody was like scrambling, looking for trades, looking for trades, looking for trades. And that's fine, but one thing that is going to keep you profitable in the long run is having patience. And my dog is tweaking right now, so my bad if you guys can hear that in the background. But yeah, one thing that's going to keep you profitable in the long run is having patience. And today was a perfect example of that. We were here for basically an hour before we even got a play. We finally got the play, and then we had a one and done. So that's really all you need. We obviously saw a crazy follow through after this, so, you know, just a little bit of a slap in the face here from AVGO after I got out in the 289 break. But I really wasn't expecting much of a move on this anyways. And I said this earlier as well. I was not expecting to see a ton of momentum regardless, because we have been on a slow, consistent grind all day long. So for crazy momentum to pick up out of nowhere, the likelihood is just not that high. So like I said, 289 was enough of a target for me where it made sense to get out of that. And that was also an all-time high break. So I didn't want to set my expectations too high for that and then not have my expectations get met. But anyways, that was the trade we took today on AVGO. There was a couple other things we were looking at today, but they did not end up playing out, or they ended up barely breaking later on. So we'll go ahead and go over all that while we're going through the watch list here, but we're going to go ahead and see what we like for tomorrow and the rest of the week. And once again, if you guys are new to this, I go through the watch list, I find my levels, and then at the end of the stream, I actually write down my watch list for the next day and the rest of the week. And that is where we come up with our full plan. So if you guys want to stick around for that, make sure you stick around for the whole stream. But I promise that I'm going to try my best not to drag it on for too long for you guys. And once again, if you do want to trade with us every single day, click that first link in the description and use code FIRST at checkout. AMD looks interesting here to the downside. I do like this. We've got a lot of room on the 30-minute. We're breaking a 1-hour uptrend channel, so that's already good news for us. Now, once again, today was kind of an odd day. We had a really nice push on the market, but just nothing was really working with it. And right now it kind of looks like we're setting up to do the same thing tomorrow, which I hope is not the case. But it is a possibility. Basically what I'm getting at here is there's a possibility that we see AMD open a little bit higher than we would like it to. And it may end up taking a little bit longer to get that play, but I do like that to the downside. Yeah, I'm all good. Baidu actually had contract volume today. That's odd. That's 2 days in a row now that we've actually had contract volume. And this actually looks like it's trying to set up for a pretty crazy push here, but I don't really know how much I can trust it at this area. Let me see the 5. Really? Okay. Okay. So this might be one to mark and just come back to later and see if we have anything better. I would imagine that we will, but we'll have to see here. Coin to the downside doesn't look bad either, but once again, I just feel like we're going to have some better looking setups than that. So a lot of these setups right now from the short part of the watch list that I made it through to this point do not look too enticing, to be honest with you guys. And Yeah, we've got earnings on a couple of our bigger stocks this week, so that kind of throws a wrench into the plan as well. But Disney, absolute trash volume. ENPH, that's got earnings. Google's got earnings. Interactive, I'm not going to be looking at Interactive for a hot minute. Those contracts actually still aren't too bad, even though they are August 15th expiration. But we'll just see. What's up? The truth as I know it. Grinding then ripped. Yeah, Tarnbeer. Yes, it did. And yeah, like I said, I really wasn't expecting to see that, just because usually when you start off the day super slow like that, there's no reason for it to get aggressive. You know, like there's just it's not like a day where we're being super aggressive but in a range, and then we can break out of the range and then see the continuation of that aggressiveness. It's just like overall everything is just on slow mode, and even the breakouts, you don't expect much from them, or shouldn't expect much from them, because if you do, you're usually going to be disappointed and not end up seeing your plan follow through. Oh, what's up, Kelly? Gotcha. Meta looks good to the upside here. I do like that. I was expecting to see a rejection at this 709.74 area today, but clearly we ended up breaking out of that, which is great, because at that level I would not have felt comfortable taking that, just because if we were going to get a rejection, that's where we should have got it from. But now that we've set ourselves up here for a move back to the upside, I think we have a lot of potential for upside on Meta, so that looks really good. Let's see. Yeah, that might be a layup of a trade right there. Let's see, Microsoft, I'm all good. Geez, we don't have much. Do not have much that I'm liking so far. Freaking MU still just taking its sweet time getting down to our levels here. Nvidia ended up breaking to the downside after hours. I don't know what Nvidia's deal is. I don't know if we have some beef with Nvidia right now or what the problem is, but every single thing that I've been looking at for Nvidia has not happened until after hours. Like every time I've even considered looking at it, it's just been like, all right, we're going to give you the break, but we're going to give it to you when you can't trade it, and then we're going to make it 10 times bigger than you're expecting. Oracle, I actually really would have liked to take Oracle today, but there was just no contract volume. I think when we were looking at it, there was literally like 5 or 10. Not 5 or 10,000, 5 or 10 in contract volume. PLTR. Thursday's low on PLTR, doesn't look too bad. And I may look to take this after hours low if we can hold it until the morning. I'm sorry, not even after hours low, that's low of day. All right. Yeah, I may look to take low of day entry on this if we can continue holding it, but I would not get my hopes up for that. I feel like that's probably going to be broken pre-market. But we'll see. Wow, guys, we are almost to the end of the watch list here, and there is only a few things that I'm liking. So if this charting session is shorter, I'll stick around and do a Q&A for you guys if you guys have any trading questions or life questions or whatever it is. Shop ended up breaking our level today. Our initial level we were looking at, which was 129.08, broke towards the end of day, but I would still look at this at today's high, taking this into the all-time high at 129.65. I still think that looks good. Now let's see, SMCI. Jeez. All right. SMCI's low from Friday does not look bad. We've got a lot of downside setups, but they're just not, I mean, they're tradable. They're just not as nice as I would like them to be. But once again, we are going absolutely crazy. I actually think our green streak is longer than 11 days, but I didn't really actually start tracking it until like day 8. So yeah. So yeah, I mean, we have been going crazy. So if we get some slower price action, it is what it is. We've been on an absolute tear. So Oracle downside. So Han, I wouldn't mind Oracle downside. The problem though is same as this morning. We had no contract volume. So it's going to be really difficult to play this to the downside if we only have, 5 or 10 contract volume. I also see that 4-hour trend here, and it makes me not a huge fan because we could break this, but we could also bounce this, and if we bounce it, it's going to be extremely aggressive. So the less of a chance I have to take on something like that, the better. Geez, we're 20 minutes in, and I already have everything that I'm looking at for tomorrow. So let's go ahead and get started on writing these down. All right, let's see here. First thing. You guys can all see this, right? What do you think about Apple? I'll go over Apple here in just a minute after we write these down. I didn't see anything notable on it, and the reason I am saying that is because I didn't mark it down, but I will go over it closer here in just a moment once we get done writing out the watch list for tomorrow. So, actually, that is not a flat bottom. Let's see, below 155, do we have any more room? 155, oh, sorry, my face is blocking what I'm looking at here. So 155, yeah, that 155 area would be where I would expect to see some type of hesitance here. We have room down to like 154.90. All right, so here for AMD, looking at the 155.81 support from Friday, and I'm going to be targeting a move to the 155 break. After that, we have room to 154.90, and then I would expect to see some hesitation around this area. If we can slip through, we have room to our next support at 154.15. Between 154.90 and 154.15, I would be extremely careful. There, I'll just leave it at that. I would be extremely careful between that area. Next up here, Baidu. I didn't really actually solidify a plan on this yet, but I think whatever just happened a couple minutes ago just ruined that plan. So yeah, Baidu's off. And then Coin, I actually am probably going to throw a coin in here just because it does look good. Contracts are extremely juiced up right now though, so that's something to pay attention to for sure. So I would actually look at, where is this? 413.28. A second. 413.28. There we go. And that is not the time frame I was looking for. Sick. Perfect. All right. So I am going to throw a coin in here. Coin, we are currently breaking below a 30-minute uptrend. Looking at the after hours low at 413.28 for a break to the downside. Target a move to the 410 break on this entry. If I could spell. There we go. All right. Now, I don't want to write this all as one trade idea because these would most definitely be two separate trades, but I'll put it this way. Also looking for a separate trade at 406.50, which is our low from Friday. Targeting a move on this trade down to 402.85. Then we have room to my absolute final target at 440 cents. Yeah, that should be fine. I'm sure you guys can make the differentiation between those two trades. Now, meta. This one is upside. And meta, I will be looking at the 717 high of day for a breakout. We broke back above and held the $709.75. I'm actually going to adjust how I'm writing this right here. Looking at the 717 high of day for a breakout. We have a ton of upside potential on this, but I will just be targeting the, can I spell? That would be great. But I will just be targeting the 720 break above 720. Well, it's 720.01, so it's okay. Next resistance slash psychological level. All right, there we go. Broke back above and held the 709.75 area, which is creating a new base to push off of. Looking at the 717 high of day for a breakout, and then we have a ton of upside potential on this. But I will just be targeting the next resistance slash psychological level break at 720. Easy. MU. I'm going to literally just copy and paste what I wrote this morning because it is and has been the exact same thing for the past, like, what, 3 days. Yeah, all right, cool. I'll go ahead and read this back to you though. Looking at the 110.95 support from Thursday's low, playing this into the 110.57 support on the 4 hour, targeting a break below 110, and then whatever momentum we can easily see below that break. That makes it easy. NVIDIA. Give me 1 second. I want to see. Okay, shop we have to put in here. SMCI we have to put in here as well. PLTR. PLTR I will. I'm going to leave PLTR off for tonight. If we have to adjust in the morning, then it'll be on the watch list in the morning. But NVIDIA, looking at the 170.23 after hours low, targeting a move on this to Wednesday. All right, looking at the 170.23 after hours low, targeting a move on this to Wednesday's low at 168.92. I will be looking to sell on the break below this level. And then we have shop, which is basically going to be the same thing of today, except I'm just going to adjust the numbers. $129.29. Looking at the high of day at 129.29 for my entry. Taking this into the all-time high break at 129.65, targeting momentum above the all-time high break. Ideally would like to see 130. There we go. And then SMCI. Looking at the low day from Friday at 51.27 for my entry, targeting a move below 51. And we have room to our next support at 50.59. Then the 30-minute downtrend at 50.31. All right, looking at low day from Friday at 51.27 for entry, targeting move below 51. Then we have room to our next support at 50.59. Then the 30-minute downtrend at 50.31. Perfect. And then last but not least, wait, maybe that was last. Yeah, okay, we have earnings on everything else below this. Oh, PLTR. I was going to add PLTR back on because why not? If it stays, that's great. If it doesn't, that's fine too. Looking at the low day at 151.35 for entry. If I could spell entry one time correctly tonight, that would be amazing. we should be able to see an easy move below 151 on this break, targeting a move into our next support at 150.82. Actually, not a move into, a break below. And then below that, let's see, okay. Below that, we've got 150.43 and then 150. $150.43 and 150, which could act as a bounce area. All right, sweet. And then let's go ahead and go through and rearrange these real quick. So AMD is downside, coin downside, Meta upside, MU downside, Nvidia downside, Shop upside, and these two are both downside. All right, I believe I'm going to put Meta up here at the top of the watch list just because I do really like that setup. MU is going to go... Actually, MU might just stay where it's at. This thing's taking too long for me to like it. I do like it. I just want to not like it so I don't have to keep writing it down. AMD might stay where it's at as well. Let's see. Nvidia, Shop. PLTR is going to go above MU here. Shop is also going to go above. The two upside plays are honestly my two favorites, so that's something to pay attention to here. If I can see upside plays whenever everything else in the market is being weak, then that's going to be what I want to look at, honestly. Because if I see that these things have momentum and they're being strong without the market, and they don't need the extra help or the extra push to get there, then that's automatically going to be my favorite. So, what do you think about Apple? I didn't answer that. Sorry. Give me 1 second. I'll check out Apple here. I think there's a lot of room on Apple before we are going to see anywhere that I would take it. That's my thoughts on Apple. Seeing a symmetrical triangle upside breakout on Apple short term. Not sure how to confirm it. Okay, so what time frame are you looking at it on to see whatever you're looking at? And I am just going to throw something out there as well. When I'm looking at something, obviously if it has trends, I'm going to pay attention to those trends. I'm going to pay attention to whatever triangle, pattern, channel, wedge, whatever. I'm going to be paying attention to it, but I never ever play the break of anything just based off of a trend break. The reason for that is because we can get pulled back into that trend so easily, and all it's going to look like on the larger time frames is we wicked out and then we confirmed that that trend is still holding extremely strong, right? So I don't like taking entries based off of just trends. So even if we do have whatever you're looking at here, you need a level to confirm your entry because the trend break is not enough, in my opinion. Now, I've been doing this for 8 years, so you don't have to take my opinion, but that is my opinion. I do not think trend breaks are enough to warrant an entry. So just based on that, now I'm going to help you out here, but just based on that, I would not be looking at that anyways. Now, if we had a trend break that lined up with a support or a resistance that we could take, that would be a different story. But you said the 15-minute, and I'm not exactly sure where you're seeing this on the 15-minute either, to be honest with you. Deepak, I don't really know how to say your name, but I'm taking a shot at it. There we go. I mean, there's nowhere to even draw a symmetrical triangle here. And also, if you're looking at a symmetrical triangle, that does not have to be an upside thing. Like you have patterns and trends that are supposed to break to certain directions. A symmetrical triangle is pretty much the same thing as like a completely flat consolidation where you can break to either direction. It can either be a continuation or it can be a reversal type of pattern. So the entire month of July, maybe the daily chart. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything here. Even on this, I mean, if I'm ignoring what the algorithm is drawing for me and I'm drawing my own thing, I'm still not seeing anything here. Even if I draw it a little bit different, and I know we've only had 2 tests of this so far, but we have an uptrend channel. We have an uptrend channel that attempted to get, okay, perfect example of what I was just talking about right here. That trend break right here is exactly what I'm talking about. Did we break out of it? Yes. But what did we do? We confirmed that this trend is still holding extremely aggressively, and they're not really trying to take this anywhere right now. So knowing that, and knowing that we are in an uptrend channel on the 1 hour, can we break to the upside? Yes. But uptrend channels are technically supposed to break to the downside. So when we see that, if you tried to play that trend break, you probably would have got smacked. Now, in the short term, on the 1 minute, maybe not. But on the larger time frames, you can see that really all that did right there was just confirm the fact that that trend held. And when you're seeing stuff like that on the 1 minute, that's even more scary if you're just trying to take an entry because you really don't have the confirmation yet, right? Seeing the entire month of July, maybe on the day chart. Yeah, every time frame that I'm looking at here, anything I'm looking at here, I'm not seeing that. I don't know. Are you in the chat, Deepak? I would say to just send a screenshot of what you're seeing, but I don't think you can do that on YouTube. So if you're in the chat, just send a screenshot of what you're looking at and I'll go over it real quick. Yo, this guy Kieran showing up 43 minutes into the hour-long lesson. I've been here. Oh, all right. Gotcha. You just wanted to make your presence known. I appreciate that. I'm going to take the no response from Deepak as he is not in the chat. But if you were, was feeling left out. He's never left out. He just can't post his AI pictures in here, unfortunately. But no, Deepak, even if you want to join the free chat and you want to send that in the free chat, like send the screenshot of whatever you're seeing, I will, I'll look at it. Sending it in Discord. Sweet. Perfect. Yeah, once again, for any of you guys that are new here as well, I don't know how many people that are watching are in the floor because I can't see who's watching, but if you're not in the floor and you want to trade live with us, click the first link and use code FIRST. I'm telling you. Game changer. Game changer. Week everyone scaled up, the market decides to be dead. Hey man, we're still doing good. That's good, Dave. That's fantastic. It's exactly what you should be doing. Oh, okay, I got you. Sweet. Okay, so I see what you're seeing now that you sent it. I'll go ahead and actually just pull this up over here for you guys as well. I see what you're seeing now that you sent it. But this is already broken, so we're not concerned with that anymore. And this right here is drawn from kind of just wherever you wanted to draw it right there, if I'm being honest. Because there's really, I mean, it doesn't seem like there's much structure behind that. And we broke out of it today already, so even then there's not really anything to base an entry off of until we get up to high of day from today. That's true, I randomly drew it. Okay, yeah, well then there's not much to be looking at there, because it has no structure behind the drawing. Some of it's drawn from the wick, some of it's drawn from the body, some of it's drawn just because that's where it looked like a triangle, so you just drew it there, and that's not helpful for you, and that's not helpful for your charts at all. When you're charting, the more simple you can make it, the easier it's going to be for you, because I mean, I can draw stuff on the chart right now and it can look like something if I want it to look like that bad enough, and then that sets you up in a really not great position there, because you're going to look at that and then you're going to be like, oh well, you know, I have all these good ideas and none of them ever play out, so like I'm going to go ahead and just, oh, my clean chart is even less clean than my default chart. All right, sick. I love when that happens. Drawing set. All right, we'll go ahead and just make, you know what, I'm clearing off this one. It is what it is. Clear drawing set. I don't think I'm gonna need the 5 billion levels that I have here on Apple. All right, so I can look at pretty much anything and draw whatever I want to, and if I want it to look like that bad enough, it'll look like that. I can draw this right here and this right here and tell you that we are in a wedge. Or I can draw it from right here and tell you that we're in a triangle or whatever. But it doesn't really mean anything, because I'm drawing it from a wick up here. We've already broken it. It's a wick right here too, but we've broken this, The rest of it's all bodies. And then, you know, something like, I could draw it from right here. And yeah, it still looks like a triangle. But what am I really drawing, you know? So I would be a little bit more picky with the way that you chart, because if you're just drawing stuff to make it look like something that you want it to look like, then it's not going to be very helpful. Absolutely, Deepak. Structure can only be drawn on vibes. That is also true, Kieran. Did Nikita trade today? I have no idea, Dave. I have absolutely no clue. Let me fix that. There we go. Would you say majority of your decision making comes from just truly understanding your support and resistance? And I don't mean like the textbook definition, but truly grasping the concept. Yeah, Antonio. I mean, obviously, if you know that you have a plan and setups that work, and you understand why they work, and you understand what you need to see, what you don't need to see, what's good and what's bad for each of your trades, and you know, you have the experience to back that up, then yeah, I mean, that would be the majority of my decision making. It comes from understanding my plans in the first place, understanding why those plans work, and then also having a lot of experience, like a lot of experience executing those, seeing the same types of setups over and over and over again, trading the same stocks over and over and over again. So you start to really learn the stocks, you start to really understand how they move, and then in combination with your levels, in combination with news or whatever scenario in the market or in life that we're in at that point in time, you already know what to expect from the stock. And when we're approaching those levels, there's certain things that you see as red flags or green flags that make you like the trade better or make you a little bit more skeptical of either taking the trade in the first place or maybe having a tighter stop, stuff like that. So yes, a lot of my decision making is obviously coming from understanding what I'm doing, but also coming from experience, which honestly, a lot of the experience, in my opinion, if you have somebody that has the experience and is walking you through why this is good, why this is bad, what makes sense, what doesn't make sense, I think you can replace a lot of the overall experience with just proper guidance. And it's going to take you a lot less time to understand the same things that took me years to understand because I needed the experience, I don't know if that makes sense or not, but yes. You look at SoFi, thinking FOMC and Powell speaking tomorrow, we'll pull it back. I mean, I wouldn't base any of my decisions just off of news or someone speaking, Caden. So if you're asking if I think it's going to pull back because of Powell speaking, that would literally be like asking me what I think the next number that the ball in roulette is going to land on. Because there's so many things that can happen and I couldn't tell you. But if you're looking at SoFi and you're looking at it to the downside, I probably wouldn't mess with it until this like 2066 level. So yeah, I mean, if you're looking at it to downside, which looks like the correct direction, that would be the level that I would look at it at. But I can't tell you if it's going to pull back or if it's going to push based off of somebody speaking. Yeah, no problem, Caden. And I know I've said this before. I know I've got a video on my Instagram about it, but the lifespan of Instagram Reels, unfortunately, is not very long. So if you guys don't follow me and like have your notifications turned on and all that, you probably miss at least three quarters of what I post. But I do not, anything that I'm doing, I will take news into account because I know that we're going to see some type of reaction from that. But I honestly could care less what the news is. I don't care if it's good. I don't care if it's bad, because we can have terrible news and the market just absolutely rips. And then we can have great news and the market can tank. So like, even if you have good news or somebody speaking about this or that, that does not give you a direct influence on what is going to happen in the market. So the most weight that I will give news is knowing that it exists at this specific time. So I know I'm going to expect a reaction at this specific time. So I either need to be careful and not be in any trades, or if I am in a trade, I need to be really, really ready to cut it if it has a quick reaction there. So yeah, the most weight that I give to news is just knowing when it is, and then after that, then I can continue on with my regular day-to-day decision-making process. Because it really, I mean, it's just literally just so random. It really doesn't matter if it's good or bad. The market can do whatever it's going to do regardless. Sean, what's up, Sean? Caden said, why that level? So that is really the first big support level that we have. You could technically look here at the low from, what was this? Wednesday at 2077 as well. That would be fine to look at as well, but just the safest entry here I feel would be this 2066. Unless you want to take it at 2077 and then target a break below 2066. But I think I would like to get a little bit better of a read on how price action is moving on this stock before I take my entry on it. And that's coming from a perspective of this not being a stock that I look at and not being a stock that I'm familiar with. So if it's something I'm familiar with, like if it was Tesla or something like that, I might even look to take it at the after hours low or the pre-market low. But not knowing how this stock moves, I would like to have as much time as I can to understand how price action is on this stock before I take an entry. And that 2066 entry would be like the perfect sweet spot between, it's far enough from where we're at right now, assuming that we're going to open at this price, which we're probably not, but assuming we're going to open at this price, it's far enough away from that that I would not expect to have to take it right off of the opening candle. And it's also not close enough to that level where I wouldn't expect a bounce before I got my entry. So if I'm looking at this right now, and let's say we're opening at this price, there is enough room between opening price and where I'm looking to take my entry that we should not get it all in one go, which means we should see a bounce somewhere before that, which can give me a better spot for my entry in the first place and a more clear stop loss as well. Where this 2077 level, it might be just close enough that we could open right here, come straight down to that level, and then get faked out without being able to really see any price action first. So that's why I said 2066. Hayden. All right. Do we have any other questions or anything we want to go over? We've got a few minutes left here. Also, I forgot to leave this up for you guys. Here's the watch list for tomorrow and the rest of the week. If you're not in the floor, take a screenshot of it. Make sure you plot those levels down. If you are in the floor, I'm going to post it in the chat right now. I can't spell tonight. I can't speak tonight. Like, oh, that's crazy. All right. Also, once again, if you're new and this is your first time at the stream, if you want to trade live with us every day, use code FIRST at checkout and you'll get 40% off. And we would love to see you in there. What are the general things I look for in a random stock? Okay, if somebody gives me a completely random stock and says, hey, look at this, they give me no levels, they give me no plan or any reason as to why they want me to look at it. Really, the main two things I'm going to be looking for is volume on the stock and contract volume. Those are going to be the first two things that I'm looking at. And then after that, you know, we may have a setup, we may not have a setup. And if we have good volume on the stock and we have good volume on the contracts and the contracts aren't dirt cheap, like SoFi, for example, I'm looking at the contracts right now. They have great volume. They're also 37 cents a contract. So if I wanted to get close to my position size, I would have to buy almost 330 contracts, which I do not want to do. So just seeing that in the first place, I don't even want to look at this stock, right? And that's my personal preference, but those would be the first few things that I'm looking at: stock volume, contract price, and yeah, the last thing would just be, do we have any setups that are remotely close? And if we do, then that's great. If we don't, then I'll just add it to the watch list and wait until we do. All right, guys. I appreciate you all coming out and sticking around. There's the watch list for tomorrow. Right there. There we go. And, you know, some of these might overlap into the rest of the week. So just keep that watch list and use it to the best of your ability. Make sure your levels are plotted. Make sure you have these written down somewhere where you remember them. If we don't see all of them tomorrow, then that means we've got some more setups for the rest of the week. And make sure that, once again, if you want to trade with us, click that first link in the description. If you want my daily watch lists, make sure you follow me on Threads. And if you guys want some daily content, make sure you follow me on Instagram, all at KeithTrades. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your night. I will talk to you first thing in the morning for pre-market review. And I will see you all